What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are back with some more Friday Night Lights. We've got a 3-game college football slate for this Flex Friday. Well, technically it's not Flex Friday anymore because Prizepicks got rid of the Flex Friday. So we got Boost Friday now, which is pretty lame. But anyways, for this Boost Friday, we have a 3-game college football slate. So we got South Florida taking on North Texas, Fresno taking on Colorado State, and then the Scarlet Knights taking on the Washington Huskies. We'll go over all 3 of these games. I'm going to give you guys a free teaser for one of these games, and I'm going to give you guys a free Prizepick slip as well. So make sure you guys do stick around to the end of this video if you do want to get all of these plays. All right, everybody, so before we do anything, I want to talk about yesterday's free picks, and then I want to go ahead and pick a winner from yesterday's video to get a free month of VIP. So let's talk about the free picks first. I gave you guys two slips, I believe, yesterday for free other than the teaser. Obviously, our teaser missed because the Eagles got beat by the Giants. I mean, I figured the game would be competitive, but man, they just couldn't do anything. And let's talk about this slip. So I gave this one for free. Wan'Dale Robinson was absolutely free. He had like 5 or 6 receptions for sure. He cashed 4 easily. And then we paired him with Jake Elliott, 2.5 PAT made. So this should have been green, in my opinion. Jake Elliott had 2 PATs in the first half. And then they couldn't score the entire second half against the Giants, which is crazy to say, man. You got Jalen Hurts, you got Barkley, you got some really good wide receivers, and you can't score on a weak Giants defense for an entire half. So that one just sucks. It should have cashed because Jalen Hurts ended up throwing a pick on like the 10-yard line. I'm not sure exactly where they were on the field. They were almost in the red zone or in the red zone, something like that. But he threw that pick, and that was pretty much game over for our PAT prop. So that one ended up chalking. The other slip that I gave you guys for free was on parlay play. We took Goddard, Robinson, then we took the free Cook boost that they gave us. So this one ended up cashing $250 to win $492, and I did give that one for free as well, which is lucky because we needed it after that chalk from Jake Elliott. So looking at the other slips we cashed the Jalen Hurts over here on Prizepicks, or on Sleeper, cashed another Sleeper play, and we cashed just another little Prizepicks play, which is a second half slip that we posted for Scattaboo, and then Jalen Hurts passing yards for second half. So that one did cash us out. Luckily, we got some of our Prizepicks back. I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you guys. Prizepicks has been my worst app this week. Lately, over the last month and a half or so, Prizepicks has been incredibly good to me. This last week, man, Prizepicks has been tough. So been struggling on Prizepicks. I'm not gonna lie. Parlay play's been about even. Underdog and sleeper we've been killing. So it's made up for the losses on Prizepicks. But still, man, I hate seeing. I know a lot of you guys play Prizepicks slips and that's it. So if you're telling the Prizepicks slips, I do apologize, man, for some of the misses I've been giving away, especially the ones on the free picks. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about, or go ahead and pick our winner from yesterday's video. If this video gets 250 likes, I'll pick another winner from this video. So drop a like, leave a comment, and get yourself a chance at free VIP. But the winner is going to be for Robert Simonis, who said let's LFG, and I'm pretty sure I said let's freaking go is what I said LFG meant, and I had a comment written me a new one how I was stupid for saying LFG meant let's freaking go. Pretty sure it does. I'm not going to pull it up on Google. If it doesn't, then somebody can tell me what it means. But let's freaking go, Robert Simonis. Send me a message on Discord, and I got you added for that free month of VIP. If you guys do want to get all of our plays, you have 2 options. First of all, join our Discord. The Discord's free. Link's down in the description. We'd love to have you guys in the server. Second of all, if you want to get all of my plays, you can get every single slip that I post for either $10 a week or $25 a month. Link for the WAP is down in the description as well. You just click the one you want. Code NFL gets you 20% off still. I'm about to change it to code NBA, so that will be changed here shortly because NBA season is about to start up. But 20% off there if you guys still want to get it. And then obviously if you want a free month, you can sign up for any partnered app down below. Chalkboard, Sleeper, Underdog, Parlay Play, Novig, Better, and Dabble. Any of those 7 apps get you a free month of a VIP. You can sign up for all 7 and get 7 full months. We have people who had pretty much cashed out the entire 7 months if you guys do want to do that. But that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the free picks, guys. Let's talk about these games. So the first game that we have on the slate is going to be the South Florida Bulls taking on the North Texas Mean Green in North Texas. This game is a minus 104 favorites for North Texas. North Texas is plus. Tell me how this. I guess it's just value. Okay, this is not the same. It is the same platform. So whatever K app this is, I don't know if that's Kashi or whatever it is, but either whatever app this is has North Texas plus 1.5 on the spread, and then they're also the favorite, which fine, whatever you guys want to do. Anyways, you got North Texas favored minus 104, pretty much even odds. North Texas plus 1.5 on the spread, which is minus 113, and then you got the total on this game sitting at 66.5. Public betting on this, 71% of the money is on South Florida, 61% of the money is on South Florida to cover the 1.5 spread, and then you got 74% of the money on the over on this total. That is a very, very high total. The over on this is, both teams are good offensively, struggle defensively, so it should be a high-scoring game. That total's high, man. So let's talk about what I like for this game. Let's talk about how these teams have played so far this season. So if you look at South Florida is sitting 4-1 on the season right now. They have their only loss versus Miami. Their first 3 games are pretty tough. They smacked Boise State 34-7. They beat Florida 18-16, close rivalry game. And then they ended up losing to Miami 12-49. So Miami, obviously just a different breed, ended up smacking them. Last 2 games, they've dominated 54-26 and then 63-14. On the other side of things, you got the Mean Green, who are 5-0 this season. Played pretty weak teams, man. Army is one of their bigger wins in 45-38, and we've seen Army. Army's not very strong. So for me, South Florida definitely had a tougher schedule. It makes their wins look a lot better, especially that win versus Florida. And I think they're the better team. So taking a look at these the stats from this team, we're going to look at the offense and the defense on both sides of the ball. So if you look at South Florida, they're averaging 446 yards per offense. They're getting 189 yards per game on rushing yards, and then 257 passing yards per game. If you look at North Texas, they are giving up 316 yards per game on defense. They're not very many, but they're also playing against trash offenses. They're giving up 180 rushing yards per game against bad offenses, and then giving up 135 passing yards per game. So their passing defenses look good, but you also have to look at the amount that these teams they played against pass versus run rate as well. We know Army runs the ball 99% of the time. They're throwing it a little bit more this year, but overall they run the ball majority of the time. So that being said, giving up 180 yards against weak offenses kind of worries me for North Texas here versus this South Florida offense, because Byron Brown is going to scramble. He can do it all, man. So I think that this South Florida explosiveness is going to be a little bit too much for this North Texas defense, and I think they're going to score pretty easily. Looking on the other side of things, we've got North Texas, 437 yards per game on offense, 180 rushing yards, and then 256 passing yards per game, going against a weak defense in South Florida. So both teams giving up a lot of yards, and if you look at the rush yards allowed, 132 per game, and then 250 passing yards per game, 246.6 if you want to be exact. So I can see this being a high-scoring game. 66.5 total is extremely high. The teaser that I'm running, the teaser I'm giving you guys for free, is up on the screen right now. I'm going to be taking South Florida plus 7.5. I think South Florida wins this game outright for plus money if you want to run them that. But taking them plus 7.5, then I'm taking the total on this game under 73.5. I think that's a very high total. Most of their games have been under this season so far. 60% of South Florida's games have been under, and then I think like 80% of North Texas's games have been under. So looking at that, man, 73 is just high. I don't see both teams scoring 37 points, 40 points. I can see this being a 35, 32 game or something like that and covering the 66.5 total. That extra 7 points is going to be hard to get, and it's going to take the entire time, in my opinion, for them to even catch the 66.5. So that being said, I am running the under on this game. It is risky. These teams could score 6 times a piece in the first half. You never know what's going to happen on games like this. College football, especially these smaller teams with explosive offenses, can be a little bit tricky. So bear with me on this one. I put $500 on this one to win $434 profit if you guys do want to lock it in. Jumping into the next game on the slate, we have Fresno taking on Colorado State. By the way, I'm going to tell you, all 3 of these games are good for props in my opinion. The only problem on props right now is Prizepicks and parlay play do not have very much on the board. So, there's not a whole lot of variety that we can get on this, for example. So, anyways, Fresno State is to minus 213 favorites right now going against Colorado State in Colorado. Looking at the spread on this game, it's 6.5 in favor of Colorado State. Then the total on this game is sitting at 47.5. The public is on 74% of the money on Fresno, 72% of the money on them covering the spread, and then 73% of the money on the over on this total. Taking a look at these two teams, you can see Fresno is 5-1 on the season right now, and I'm pretty sure it says it over here somewhere. I know it said it a minute ago. I don't know why it took me that long to figure out they were 5-1, but 5-1 right now on the season so far. They don't have any big wins. Their only tough game, in my opinion, I guess Hawaii's pretty explosive, but Kansas was really the only one that I see on here that's a good team. So they lost against their only good team. If you look on the other side of things, we got Colorado State, who is 1-4 right now, and they haven't really played any good teams either. Washington, they lost 21-38. So really, man, like, these teams aren't that good, so it makes it a little bit tougher again. So right now, based off how the teams are playing, like, Fresno's definitely got much more momentum in this season so far. They feel like they're actually playing for something, whereas Colorado State 1-4. It's hard to really turn this season around and be good. So I give the edge to Fresno. I'm not going to put money on this one personally. I do think this is going to be good for props, and I'll show you why I think it's good for props. You can see the Fresno offense. Fresno's averaging 171 rushing yards per game, 367 yards total on offense. Their passing yards is a little less than 200, so they are throwing the ball or running the ball more than they throw the ball. And they're going against a defense that gives up almost 200 rushing yards per game. So Fresno has a couple of running backs you can choose between. That's where it gets tricky, knowing which running back's going to do well. But both of them may do well. So I'll let you guys decide. I played one of the running backs, which we'll go over here in a minute. But I do think that Fresno side of the balls are going to be good. Looking at Colorado State, same thing really, man. They average 152 rushing yards per game, 193 passing yards per game, going against a team that gives up over 100 rushing yards and then almost 200 passing yards. So Fresno's defense looks a lot better than Colorado State's did, but they're still, like, I know it says 35th. That's against weak teams. It's against weak teams. I'm not saying Colorado State's a strong team. They're still another weak team, but when you see when you see the props and see the lines they're at, there's definitely some value we can get here, and I'll talk about that here in a minute as well. But I do think all three of these games are potentially good for props. Looking at the last game, we got the Scarlet Knights taking on the Washington Huskies. Washington is minus 367 favorites, minus 10.5 on the spread, and the total in this game is sitting at 60.5. Another very high-scoring game. 83% of the money is on the Huskies, 60% on the Huskies covering a 10.5 spread, and then 61% of the money on the total over on this game. Looking at both of these teams, Scarlet Knights on a 2-game loss streak versus Iowa and Minnesota. They had 2 tough L's, lost by 10 to Iowa, then they lost by a field goal in their last game. So that's the only 2 games they've lost against some decent teams, man. The other teams, Ohio, Miami of Ohio, they don't have any tough games prior to that they won, but they kept these games close. If you look at Washington's played against some decent teams. Ohio State beat them 24-6. Other than that, man, they don't have any super strong teams that they played against. I mean, yeah, they've been pretty good this season. I think Washington wins this game, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. And you can look at strength of schedule. Washington's strength of schedule is way stronger, ranked 11th, whereas Rutgers are ranked 109th. So that does make a big difference as well. But anyways, let's talk about these two teams, offense and defense, and see what we got going on here. So right now, the Scarlet Knights are averaging 434 yards per game on offense. They're getting 140 rushing yards per game and then almost 300 passing yards. On the other side of things, you got Washington's defense giving up 283 yards per game, 78 rushing yards, and then 205 passing yards. So I think this is going to be a game where the Rutgers do move the ball through the air. Don't really think their running game is going to be that dangerous for Washington. If you look on the other side of things, Washington's averaging almost 450 yards per game, 200 rushing yards almost, and 255 passing yards. So another very explosive offense that's had some success this season so far. Going against a defense that's given up 130 rushing yards per game, then 218 passing yards. So Scarlet Knights defense really hasn't been that bad compared to some of these other weaker teams that we've looked at so far this season either. So for me, I think Washington wins. I think it stays pretty close. I'd almost take Rutgers plus 10.5, especially when you got that much money on the other side of things. So I guess it was kind of 60-40. That's not as bad as the money line, but we'll see, man. I can see Washington cover. I probably won't touch this game. I could see it going either way, and it's kind of coin flip. Total in this game at 60.5. That's probably not a bad bet. It's getting a little bit up there for... I don't know if I trust the Rutgers to score 28 to 35 points, which would probably be needed for this to go over, to be honest. I mean, unless Washington just blows them out. So you need at least 21 from them and 40 from Washington, which would be tough to do. But it's very possible. So I'm probably just going to fade this game in terms of sports books overall. Not going to, I could pick a winner. I think Huskies win, but that's a minus 367 winner, so it's not really saying much. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into some player props, guys. Let's jump into a prize pick slip that I'm going to lock in. Then we might lock in an extra slip over on parlay play, depending on what kind of value we can find there. I'm going to take a sip of my drink if you want to skip through the next 3 seconds. Ghost Energy, by the way, if you guys are wondering. One of my favorite energy drinks out there. Man, your boy's struggling. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about these player props. So the first player prop that I have for today is going to be for our man Jonah Coleman. Now, this is going to be the Washington running back. I am taking Jonah Coleman to give us a rush or receiving touchdown. So, 0.5 touchdowns. It's going to be a goblin. He's catched it every game except for one, and that was versus Ohio State. So, obviously, they struggled that game. He had 5 in second game of the season. He's averaging 2.2 per game on the season going against the Rutgers defense, who I don't think they're going to struggle against too much. Head-to-head last season, he didn't have a touchdown. He had 4 red zone rush attempts and couldn't get one in. But Jonah Coleman, man, he's been very good for this Washington team. If you look at his rushing receiving yards, they're sitting at 137.5, so a very, very high line there. I don't trust it enough. He's averaging 16.4 rush attempts per game. They are running the ball 54% of the time. Jonah Coleman is getting 42% of the rush share, which is 82 rushes this season so far. And then he's getting 45% of the rush share in the red zone. So he should be the guy who gets a touchdown if there's a rushing touchdown, unless the quarterback sneaks it in. But I like Jonah Coleman for 0.5 rushing receiving TDs. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm doing a 3-pick, 2.2x slip on Prizepicks. So you're going to see 3 discounted-ish lines if you want to play the original. Now, people hate this for some reason. But if you want to play their original line, play their original line. I don't think it's bad. This one is, I don't even know if you can raise it up. You can go to 1.5 if you want to take 2 there. I'm not touching 2. 1 touchdown is hard enough to bet on a player to get, so I'm going to take my chances here on Jonah Coleman. So it is going to be a goblin on Prizepicks. If you want to lock it in, it is there. I'll see if it's on parlay play. That's Cam Coleman. Oops. So Jonah Coleman, we're going to do 0.5 rushing receiving TDs. I doubt the payout's going to be super good, but we'll see what the difference is on Prizepicks and parlay play. Jumping into pick number 2 of the day, the second pick that I ran with this is going to be for our man Drew Mestmaker, and I'm pretty sure that's how you say his last name. If I'm butchering it, somebody can let me know in the comments, but it's going to be the North Texas quarterback. Now, I'm buying it down to 224.5 passing yards. I'm taking the over on this one, and I'll tell you guys why. I think that USF wins. Both defenses are pretty weak. I think this is going to be a shootout. It's a 66.5 total already. Looking at USF passing yards defense, they give up 250 passing yards per game. Mestmaker is averaging 250 passing yards per game. No head-to-head data. He's catched just 3 of 5 games on the season. Look at the 2 games that he didn't go over. He beat one team 59-10 in that one. So they're obviously not going to throw the ball. They do throw the ball 49% of the time, run the ball 51% of the time, but they also have dominated pretty much every single game, so they're going to continue to milk the clock. It's just how it goes in football. That being said, I think this line's low at 224.5. If you want to play his original line because you don't like discounts, you can play it at 254.5. I do not think that's bad at all. I don't think that's bad. I think he could definitely cash this, but college football is a little bit weird in these small games sometimes, so I'm playing it a little bit safer. It's not even that safe. It's a little bit safer, though, at 225 if you want to take it there. So let's pull up Mestmaker. He is boosted, and you know what? I'm going to tell you guys something. He's boosted right now on parlay play. Coded Fantasy Aces on parlay play. I'll run his 2x on parlay play at 257.5, which is a high line, but it is a 2x. So this gives us a 2.2x. And I'm going to run this a little bit riskier on parlay play, just so if you guys want to tell that, you do have a higher payout slip to lock in if you want. So that being said, pick number 3 that I ran on this slip is going to be for our man Bryson Donaldson. Sorry, I had to figure out which one I ran. I took my notes, but I couldn't remember which one was on the slip. And it is Bryson Donaldson, the Fresno State running back. So I ran him at 49.5 rushing yards. If you don't want to play this and you want to play their other running back, you can do that as well. He's only cashed just 2 of 6 games. He is averaging 13.2 rush attempts per game. He had 23 in game 2. He had 14 and 15 his last 2 games. He had 15 versus Hawaii and had 1 rushing yard. That's not a joke. Dude had 15 versus Hawaii and ended with 1 rushing yard. He's going against Colorado State's defense. They give up almost 200 rushing yards per game. This is a team that cannot stop the run so far this season. Head-to-head, last year, he had 140 rushing yards versus the same Colorado State team. They're obviously going to be some different players and things like that. Might not be the same exact defense, but he did have 140 yards last year versus Colorado State. They run the ball 55% of the time. Donaldson gets more rush attempts than their other running back. Their second-string running back is going to be Rashawn Luke, who has 26% of the rush share. Donaldson has 40% of the rush share. If you prefer to run Rashawn Luke and you want to play him at like 39.5 or 25, you can do that as well. He's cashed that line in 3 of 6 games on the season, and he's averaging right at 8.8 rush attempts per game. So he's getting a little over half the rush share that Donaldson's getting, but still, man, like, I'd prefer to take the guy who had a great game last season versus this same team. So taking rush yards, I'm going to be taking our man Bryson Donaldson, and I'm going to take him at 49.5. This gives you a 2.2x. If you run this on Prizepicks, 150 wins you 330 for these three plays. Safer plays, Maker's my least favorite of the three, if we're being honest. So I think Coleman has it, and I think Donaldson cashes. This payout for just these two is a 1.6x. If you really wanted to run that, you could. It's not a good payout, but it's up to you guys. So if we were to throw in Donaldson over here, and it's kind of crazy that he's boosted on parlay play. I did not know that, I promise. But he is boosted on parlay play as well if you want to run this in two separate slips. So what we could do, we could run the 39.5 on parlay play. This will give us a 2.77x. Let's do that. 250. And then that'd be 250 to win 692. And then we're going to put another unit on this Donaldson at his regular yards, and we'll run like Maker really low or something. Or actually, there's another play that I like if you guys want to run a regular line, Jalen Dupree. I like Jalen Dupree, who is the Colorado State running back, and I like him for rushing receiving yards, and I'm going to show you guys why. There's a little bit of value you can get here. So his rush yard line is sitting at 65.5. His receiving yard line is sitting at 11.5. Add these two together if you think he cashes both, and you're sitting at around 77. So you're looking at 77 on the dot. His rush and receiving yards is at 72.5. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. You can look at this as if he has to cash, like for this to be better value at 72.5 compared to 77, he either has to cash both of these props, or he has to have a really good game in one of the props. So if he has a 40-yard receiving game, then obviously his rush and receiving yards cash as well. Or if he has a really breakaway rushing game and gets 90 rushing yards, he cashes both of them pretty easy. So I like the rushing receiving yards here just because you have two chances for him to have a good game. So he could have a good receiving game, or he could have a good rushing game and he cashes. So if he doesn't have a good in either of them, it makes it hard for him to cash this prop, but you got a better chance for that to happen against the defense. I mean, Fresno's defense has been okay, but they're not great. Give 110 rushing yards per game and 200 receiving yards per game versus pretty bad teams, pretty mid teams. So I think Colorado State's going to have some success. They do run and pass the ball 50% of the time. If you look at rush attempts, our man Dupree gets 38% of the rush share. If you look at targets, he is getting 9% of the targets. So he doesn't get a lot of targets per game. He averages 2.8. He had 6 2 games ago. He's averaging around 2. So he gets a couple targets, might get 15 to 20 rush yards. He may get more targets this game, just depending on how the game's going. I think Fresno might win this game, or wins this game. So I do think they could be playing from behind, which could lead to some Dupree catches. So we'll see what happens here. I think 72.5 is not a bad line if you want to lock it in. We can check it right here on Parlay Play as well, just to see if they have any better value. So they don't even have rush and receiving yards on here. So unfortunately, I can't play that there. If we took Dupree, though, over on Prizepicks at 72.5, this would put you at a 4.5x. If you guys want to run that, it'd be 150 to win 675. But that's totally up to you guys if you want to do it. Dupree obviously is a little bit risky if you want to take a chance on it. But that being said, let's lock in a second slip over here for the Bryson Donaldson boost, and I'm probably just going to run it with something safe. Hit like a 1.8 or a 1.9x slip. Let's look up Coleman's rushing yards on here, and let's buy it down low. So we're going to do Jonah Coleman, his rush yards. We're going to take it at like maybe 69.5. That puts us at a 1.77x. Maybe I don't want to do that. What's Maker at? Or Byron Brown. Let's see what Byron's at. Byron Brown is, do they have rush and receiving yards on here? They do not. They have rush yards, and they have pass yards. If we put him at 200 pass yards with this would give us a 2.27x with Jonah Coleman as well. If we take Jonah Coleman off, this is a 1.77x. Just checking my value here live. I do like to do this just to make sure I'm playing the slip that I want, because I don't like doing more than 2 legs a lot of the time. But could run the touchdown prop here as well for a 2.05x. I think Coleman has a good game, man. I think he can get 70 rushing yards. I really do. There's something about it. It just sings to me. So I'm gonna lock this in. 250 to win another 567. We'll come over here to track picks, and this is what I got, guys. So we got 500 to win 1260, $760 profit if we cash both these slips. Coleman, Maker, and Donaldson on a slip. And then we got Coleman with a different prop, Byron Brown with a discounted prop, and then Donaldson boost over here on this one as well. If you guys do want to lock in these 2 slips, hopefully they cash. But that's what I got for today, guys. If you want to mix and match your own slips, you can do what you want. Remember, this is college football with small teams, small games, so make sure that you guys are aware that these are a little bit risky. Nothing's going to be guaranteed, college football especially, so play light if you do play, and if you don't like a play, just fade it. But hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see y'all in the next one.